Hey everybody, I wanted to put this out there real quick. I was watching a part of a Chris Rock comedy special. And as all things Chris Rock, the man is hilarious. He is very intelligent. I have a great respect for him. He said something that really broke my heart because it's very true. There's a lot of truth to it. Of course, it has a bit of a comedic spin to it, but it spoke to something that's far deeper than I feel it should be. He said that he was talking about his divorce and all of the recent troubles that he's had, divorce money and going through having his family being divided and all of that. And he said, whenever it comes to being loved, women, children, and dogs are all loved unconditionally. When it comes to men, they're only loved when they're bringing something to the table. And of course, everybody laughs, right? And I'm like, and I laugh like, oh, because I've lived that life, for most of my life, from the time that I was a boy. All the way through adulthood, it's all about, men are providers. You must be a good provider. We see this all over society, and I'm not about to dissect society, but I think it's something that we all know to be true. Even you ladies really are the first ones to know that there's the concept of deadbeat men, deadbeat dads. I mean, what do they call like women who are bad mothers? You don't really hear much about deadbeat mothers. I don't even know that there's a term for it. Maybe I'm just drawing a blank right now. This is what I have to say about that. Men are people too. We're not providers. We've had that pounded into our heads, and women have had that pounded into their heads too, that men are to be providers. At the same time, we have we're a earth-shattering successful economy over in America. And generally, things around the globe are better than they've ever been in most places in the first world. We have record levels of success. We have more women in the workplace now than ever before. More women in Congress than ever before. There's still this expectation that men have to give more than they receive. And don't jump down my throat on this, because the first thing I'm going to hear is women do exactly this and women do it naturally, especially when they're mothers, blah, blah, blah. I understand that. I get that. But every woman will also tell you that they have expectations of the man bringing something, I heard, I saw a funny comment on a video a while back that really comes to light. It was a guy who was just sort of going off on one of these rants about women. And then the comment was made by some woman, downing him for, being frustrated with his situation. And somebody immediately clapped back and put her in her place and said, "You're probably the kind of woman who expects a vacation every year and then buys him socks for his birthday." And there's a lot of truth to that too. Men are expected to pay for family vacations, and yes, I understand some of you ladies out there are pretty damn independent and do it yourself. But you ladies also know that there's a multitude of women in general who have these expectations of men. They come in is the Disney view of relationships. Overwhelmingly, people like to point to Disney and blame Disney for disillusioning us about the nature of relationships. And I don't think that that's absolutely correct, but I think that's correct. This whole concept of of men being the leaders. Yes, every woman wants that. Women want two kinds of men, and I think this is one reason why women have such difficulty like putting into words what it is they look for in a man or what they want in a man. And again, this is just opinion. Don't jump down my throat. But there's two kinds of men that women tend to seek, that they tend to like. They tend to want the men who are, consistent, provide security. They wake up, they go to work, they come home, they get their paycheck. They're very predictable. They provide sort of that view, that 20, 30, 40-year view of what life's going to be like. But then they also are attracted to the men who can, basically, I hate the word alpha, but there's not really a better term for it that's well known. But just guys who are independent. They're down for whatever. They can change their mind at a moment's notice. They can have their world turned upside down, and it doesn't faze them. They can handle anything and everything life throws at them, and life certainly has a way of throwing it at these men. They're the ones that if you put them in the forest, they'll give them an axe, they'll go to a forest and just start chopping down trees all day. Like they're go-getters, that kind of mentality. I think one of the and that becomes a problem because there's two types of men there, two very distinctly different types of men who are attractive. And it's hard to separate the two, and you're not gonna find the two types of men together. So when you're with somebody who's got alpha, it's a chaotic relationship. You could be pulling in the money like gangbusters one year, and then the next year y'all are living in a little tiny apartment because things didn't work out. And he's cool with it, he's fine with it, but you're kind of mad because a year ago you had a completely different expectation. Right? But then you get with a guy who's consistent. He wakes up and it's the same thing every day, and you're like, my God, this man is boring. The issue is that you're not gonna find both of those in one package. You're not, and I think that's a problem. But getting back to my original my original intent of the video is exactly this. Men are not just provide. Men are people too. Men have feelings. Men have things that they want out of life that don't involve handing over their money and the paychecks to their wives or their girlfriends. They just don't. Like if you want to see a man be happy, this is what I suggest. This is not if you're with a narcissist, of course, but let's say you're trying to change the way your life has been going. If you've been with narcissist after narcissist, abuse after abuse, toxic relationship after toxic relationship. If you're a woman and you want to really do something to make your man happy, you ever have problems with buying a man gifts or doing things to make him happy? You want to make him happy? Pay some of his share of the bills. When it comes down to it, you will be surprised at what that will do to a man. I think it's something that people just don't give credit to, or that people just don't give credit to, or people just don't really think about that because it seems so basic. But I can promise you, like whenever on the day he gets paid, if you say don't worry about the bills, I'll take care of them, or at least bill A, B, and C, whatever that may be. Whenever y'all go out to a nice restaurant and be like, you know what, I got it this time. Go to the steakhouse, you be the one to foot that $250 to $500 bill, or $1,000 bill. I don't know how y'all roll. It could be Outback Steakhouse, that $75 bill, But just be the one to foot the bill, and buy him some drinks. This is obviously not applicable if you're on, in the early stages of dating. I'm talking about people who are in long-term relationships or want to just make a guy happy. Just do that. And you know what you'll see whenever you bring it up, or whenever you're at the restaurant and you offer to pay it, you'll see this sort of just unconscious, almost instinctual reaction, like, no, I got it. Like, because it's been beaten into us that that's deadbeat shit, or that it's a shit test, Like, I think this woman's testing me. Like, I know that I have to say no, that I'm going to pay for this, right? So anytime you say, no, it's like, here, I'll pay for it. And he's like, no, I got this. It's because men see that as a shit test. They think that if they say okay, that's failing the test. Because overwhelmingly, there's a lot of YouTube channels out there that say this. And in most cases, I think that's true, especially in early dating. But like I said, if you want to see a guy just be happy and just appreciate something, just, a few times, just get the bills a few times. And that's all I'm saying. It gets exhausting. This is why men turn into, quote, deadbeats. It's because they get tired of just always being the provider and being nothing more than the ATM. And eventually they lose their identity. They don't have personality anymore. They don't have any hopes or dreams anymore. Everything about being a human with happiness and goals gets eroded away. And it gets to the point where it says, okay, it's either me or this life. And they discard the life and they go and they live for themselves. And then they get labeled a deadbeat. That's how that happens. They get over-focused, either themselves or by others, about being the provider, about putting everything and everyone else first. And again, women, yes, I know. Women do this too. Okay? I'm just referring to the male perspective. How we feel. There's not a whole lot of dudes out there that are going to talk about feelings, because that's some pussy shit, But that's also part of the problem. Women don't really know what men are thinking at any point in time. And it's usually because we're not. But we also don't really talk about our feelings and generally how we feel. And we don't even really talk about this with other dudes either. The only time dudes talk to dudes is whenever we have a problem and we don't know how to fix it, and we think we have a friend who does know how to fix it. It's about whenever dudes talk about relationships. And that's really about it. We don't really sit around and talk about the meaning of life and our hopes and dreams and how things are going according to our plans. We don't really do that. So that makes it a little difficult to understand. Anyways, I'm out of time, but thank you very much for listening. Don't jump down my throat on this. Like I said, this is just from my personal perspective, as an individual, as a man who's been divorced, remarried. I have 3 children and 2 mamas, 1 divorce. And what Chris Rock said last night, this quote that I heard, it just absolutely floored me. It really floored me because of how true it is. It is. Anyways, thank you very much. Do please like, comment, or share. I want to hear from y'all's perspective on this. And I don't know, something. I'll see y'all on the next video.